What's going on, guys? Jake Humphrey's Platinum Sports Picks. I am fresh off being wrong. My NRL podcast last week, with all the plays that we added, taking into consideration everything that we added for yesterday, we didn't do too badly on the NRL. We had the Panthers as a winner on head-to-head. We had the Panthers 1-12 as a winner. We had the Broncos 13+. We had the Newcastle Knights and Cronulla Sharks going way over. We had the Bulldogs second half handicap. So, we ended up doing quite well with the added plays. However, with the Storm beating the Cowboys, that wasn't what we had in mind. I think, just to talk about that game, obviously I was so confident on the Cowboys winning that one, and I was so wrong. What happened was the Storm just imposed their will on the Cowboys, and they were able to force them into a game that they didn't want to be a part of. The Cowboys played so well, they went up to an 8-0 lead, and I thought, okay, well, the Cowboys are going to run away with this one quite quickly. But it was a great effort from the Storm. They were able to, keep in it. They were able to force a few uncharacteristic errors from the Cowboys. Gavin Cooper and Lachlan Coote made a lot of errors. They didn't play the footy I'm used to seeing them play. And the Storm, they got Mareka Koroibete come back, which I wasn't expecting. However, still without Will Chambers, and without Billy Slater, they were able to do a very good job to beat the Cowboys, who I thought were untouchable at this point in the season. And I was 100% wrong with that game. And, I can cop that on the chin. We did have some good picks surrounding the Raiders and the Cowboys, but those two picks were the biggest picks, and they both lost. So it's not something that I was happy with, and it's not something that I'm looking to make a habit of, but that's just the way it is. The Storm came out, they surprised us all, they won a game I didn't think they would win, and we lost money. Now, on Friday night, the Dragons played host to the Raiders in a match where the Raiders had a try disallowed very early on in the fray. They had a head-high tackle waved off by the bunker, and I think that, they didn't cop a lot of the calls. They had a bad rub of the green. However, they got themselves in a position to win the game. They scored a late try, and they missed two field goals that were very, very makeable, and then threw an intercept in extra time. And the Dragons scored the winning try. So that was very, very unlucky, that one. But, it was also another loss. So that's just what it is. That's what happens. Now, tonight, the Roosters go up to the Gold Coast. They play the Titans. And just before I get into that preview, I want to have a bit of a chat about the page, Platinum Sports Picks, and what's happening over there. Now, last night we had a loss. On the tennis, we actually had several losses. Basically, what happened with ATP Rome, we finished 15-10. We had a couple of big winners down the stretch. We had a two-stake win between Kei Nishikori and Novak Djokovic. But last night, Andy Murray just played Novak Djokovic off the court. I watched the whole match. I thought that Novak Djokovic would struggle. I thought that he would lose a set. But I didn't think that he would lose the match 6-3, 6-3 in that fashion. And that's exactly what happened. Andy Murray was unplayable. He made every shot. And, Novak, was struggling with a bit of an ankle injury, and he was complaining to the umpire about that throughout the match. And that was, that was evident out there. He struggled. His movement wasn't as good. And, Andy Murray just was phenomenal. His first serve started to get really hot in the second set. And he was making incredible shots, and he even finished the match with a backhand that was well out of the court when he hit it. So he finished the match with a flashy shot, and they're the kind of shots that he was making throughout the entire contest. Now, we also had a match last night in the EPL that was wrong as well, and that was for half a stake. The good thing about the three losses that we had last night, 2 baseball, 1 EPL, is the fact that they were all 0.5 stakes each. But, we probably deserved to get at least one of the three of those. In the first half of the EPL, the chances that both teams had were incredible. Couple of goals gone missing, a couple of one-on-one situations with the keeper, and then obviously it got to 1-1 in the end, but that didn't even get us enough for a push refund. In the first baseball game we had, the Tampa Bay Rays hit a 3-run home run early on in the match, and I thought, okay, well, they should be able to run away with this one. And they had the lead all the way to the top of the 9th inning, and the Athletics got a couple of runs in that inning, and they won the game, and that was really, really frustrating for me watching that. And then the Mariners couldn't get anything going offensively. Felix Hernandez has got a good record. He's got a decent ERA this year with the Mariners. Coming off a big win, kind of a landmark win for him, and he didn't pitch horribly, but allowed 3 runs. which is sitting around about his average. But they were able to unable to get any offense going against the Angels. They were beaten 3-0. So we had 3 losses there, combined with the one tennis loss, which put us at minus 2.5 stakes on the night, which is, it's not ideal. But we put those picks out at small stakes because we are saying to you that it is not as strong as the 1 stakes and the 1.5 stakes. So if you're a $100 stake better or a $50 stake better, you'd only be putting $25 or $50 on those matches, and hopefully in a situation where you can afford to lose them. We never expect to lose them, but that's just what happens. Okay, so basically we have the Gold Coast Titans playing host to the Sydney Roosters tonight. Now, obviously, I've just released the Gold Coast Titans plus 8.5. Now, it's for 1 stake, so it's not a very, very, very strong NRL play. But, I think quite a few people are overselling the Roosters right now. I think that they obviously had a very good win 2 weeks ago against the Knights, who we are now realising are really, really, really that bad. So maybe a 42-0 win against the Knights isn't quite as impressive as what we thought it was at the time. They got Mitchell Pearce back. They've got Warrior Hargreaves back, who's playing on the bench. However, tonight they're playing without Sean Kenny-Dow, who as a winger does a real job for them. Makes a lot of metres coming out of his own end. He's a noted finisher. He can create tries in situations where a lot of other wingers can't score them. And I think he's a bit of a leader. I don't believe he's that vocal, but I mean, he's a silent leader in the fact that I think the back line and the players are more confident and more comfortable with Sean Kenny-Dow on the field, just because he has been such a regular staple in their team over the past seasons. 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons. He's been around for a long time. So they're missing Sean Kenny-Dow. They do welcome back Daniel Tupou, which is quite a big in. However, he hasn't found the form that we've seen from him in the past couple of years. Certainly not on the try-scoring front anyway. They do have a much better team than what they started the year with. They've got Jared Warrior-Hargreaves on the bench, Kane Evans on the bench. They've got Dylan Napa and Sam Moa in the front rows, Jake Friend, Boyd Cordner, Aiden Guerra, Isaac Liu, Mitchell Pearce in halfback. So we are looking at quite a strong team. Blake Ferguson and Mitchell Orbison in the centres, Latrell Mitchell at the back, who is certainly picking up some form. He's looking better every game. I love the way he runs the ball. I love his strength. He's a good player. So this Roosters team is a strong team, top to bottom. However, I do have a little bit of a question mark over the chemistry they have been able to develop back together. But having said that, these guys are so familiar playing with each other that I don't believe that would be too much of an issue. I mean, they played a lot of footy with each other. Mitchell Pearce, Jake Friend, Hastings, Ferguson, they've all played a lot of footy with each other. Boyd Cordner in particular has played a lot with Mitchell Pearce, so I don't think that the combinations are going to be a huge issue. Maybe they're going to have a little bit of cobwebs in and around their set plays and things like that. But I don't think that you're going to see any ring rust, so to speak, from any of these players. However, this Roosters team, at the end of the day, they are 2-7. They've won 2 games. They've lost 7 games. And I do think that going up to play a team like the Gold Coast, who, look, I like the Gold Coast, and that we've lost a bit of money on the Gold Coast. We backed them against the Storm, against the spread. They failed there. The Gold Coast really haven't been able to produce much in their last 5 or 6 games. They've got a 3-6 season record. Okay? They've lost 5 games in a row. The last time they won a game was when they went down to Canberra and won that incredible match, 24 points to 20. And after that, I was thinking, mate, these Titans are going to be a real handful this season. Greg Bird went down. They've been missing Dave Shillington. So after that, they lost a game by 8 points. They lost a game by 5 points. They lost a game by 5 points. They lost a game by 1 point. So they had a series of close losses. Then they lost a game by 38 points against the Melbourne Storm, where they just were outplayed. They were enthusiastic early on in the match, but they were just outplayed by a better Storm team. And I think they dropped their heads once they conceded a few tries. But tonight, the Titans, they have a team that I really, really like. They're welcoming Anthony Don back into the team, who now I'm looking at the lineup, I'm trying to figure out where he is. He's listed as a 19th man here, and he's not a huge inclusion, but he's a good try scorer and a good finisher out on that wing. But a couple of bigger ins that we have. David Shillington who they recruited from Canberra to be a big go-forward man for them. He's coming back. They've got Eddie Pettybourne returning as 18th man, I can see right here. I'm not sure how many minutes he's going to get. But if you look at this team, they've got William Zillman in the fullback position. They've got Josh Hoffman and Nene McDonald in the centres, who are both capable players. They've got David Mead and Nathan Davis on the wing. David Mead is obviously a speedster, can score from anywhere. In the halves, they've got Tyrone Robertson, Ashley Taylor, who still do have a lot to prove for mine. But this is where they really flourish, and it's where they can really match it with the Roosters. They've got David Shillington and Ryan James in the front row. They've got Nathan Friend in the hooking position. They've got Zeb Taylor, Chris McCreen, and Greg Bird in the back row. And I think as a home underdog, the Titans are a good option tonight because their back is against the wall, just like the Roosters. Man, they've lost 5 games in a row. Look, the Roosters on the ladder are coming 15th, and the Titans are coming 13th. They're only 2 points apart. So obviously the Roosters are desperate. They've got these players back. They're going up to the Gold Coast. They're a pretty strong favourite, and the public's loving them. But I actually think they're going to have a really tough game against the Titans tonight. I think that the Roosters will probably win this game by somewhere between 1 to 6 points. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans were able to snatch a win too. You can expect this to be the last shot that I have with the Gold Coast Titans. They did fail us when they played against the Storm, but before that we had them against the spread against the Sharks, and I think we also had them against the spread against the Raiders too, from memory. So I think we've had a bit of luck with the Titans, and I'm hoping for a bit more of it tonight. Plus 8.5 is the line we're going to take. I know we're giving up some juice at $1.62, but I just think that it's a strong line in a game that I believe could be a bit of a grind between two teams who like to play tough, gritty footy. The Titans have been known in the past for throwing the ball around, but they're kind of, their forwards can match it with the Roosters, and I think it can turn this one into a real arm wrestle. The second player we have for tonight's game is Blake Ferguson to score a try. Now, Blake Ferguson is a right winger, a right centre for the Sydney Roosters, and I believe he's going to be going up against Josh Hoffman tonight, who I think plays in the left centre for the Titans. Now, Nene McDonald, who plays in the right centre for the Titans, is a much bigger lad. There's a lot more about him. He'd probably be a more difficult proposition for Ferguson to beat. However, tonight, I think that if Ferguson can get himself in some one-on-one situations with Josh Hoffman, he's going to be able to stick out that big left-hand fend and go straight past Hoffman, the little guy, or even run straight over the top of him. Ferguson is in devastating form. He's just played in the Australian team where he scored a try, I believe. He should have scored 2. He's only getting more confident. He looks to be healthy. And I think with Sean Kenny-Dow missing from the team, that's going to place more of an emphasis on Blake Ferguson's contribution. He's got Joe Burgess outside of him, but I don't believe he's going to be as reliant on Joe Burgess as he is on Sean Kenny-Dow. And I think this will sort of push Ferguson to maybe have a few more cracks himself, maybe keep the ball a little bit more, and it might even push the Roosters to feature Blake Ferguson more in their attacking raids down the right-hand side. Normally, if they're going down the right-hand side, Mitchell Pearce or Jackson Hastings might look for a cutout pass or might look for a chip across the field to target Sean Kenny-Dow, but now that he is out and that it does leave such a big hole in their back line, they might be looking to, put in a couple of short kicks for Blake Ferguson or hit Blake Ferguson on a couple of overs lines or, maybe focus it a little bit more around Blake Ferguson. I mean, he is getting better and better and better at this stage in the season. His form's getting better. What he wants to do right now is put his best foot forward to get a place in the New South Wales team. And there's no better time for him to do that right now on Monday Night Football, where a lot of people are going to be watching, and he can just get a really good performance under his belt. And I think that Blake Ferguson to score a try anytime is an excellent play. Based on the value we're getting at $2.20, I think looking at this entire back line, Joe Burgess hasn't played. I don't believe he's played a whole lot of footy this season, maybe a handful of games. He scored 2 tries this year. I think looking here, Joe Burgess has played 3 games this year. Blake Ferguson's played 9, Orbison's played 9, Tupou's played 6, and Latrell Mitchell's played 9. And out of the whole backline, Blake Ferguson scored the most tries. Joe Burgess has scored 2, Blake Ferguson scored 6, Orbison and Tupou have both scored 2, and Latrell Mitchell has scored 4. So I think that Blake Ferguson seems to be the most likely person in the backline and the most capable try scorer, definitely the most devastating runner. And when you look at Mitchell Orbison in the other centre, Blake Ferguson has him every day of the week in regards to line-breaking ability and attacking potency. And I think you're going to see that tonight against a smaller guy in Josh Hoffman. I love Blake Ferguson to score tonight. And if we hit that bet, we're guaranteed profit right off the bat with a $2.20 odds there. So we're going to go with those two plays for tonight. And, after talking about the Blake Ferguson play, I don't know if you guys think so, but gee, I really talked myself into that pick. You know what? That came from Josh. That Blake Ferguson pick came from Josh, who has done well over the weekend, giving us plays. Bulldogs handicap, Broncos 13+. And I think that he is really onto something here. I've taken that play on board, and now I'm totally with it myself. So, yeah, it's a very strong play, and we're going to stick with the two of them there. Blake Ferguson to score a try, and the Titans plus 8.5. And if you're asking the question, well, how come you're picking a Roosters play to score, and how come you're picking a Titans team to cover a handicap? It's basically because I think, for starters, the 8.5 handicap is quite a big line, and just because I'm picking one Roosters player to score one try doesn't mean I think that they're going to have a field day. I just think that Blake Ferguson is the most likely player to score for them in the back line. I think they love going to the right-hand side, and I think that, at the value we're getting $2.20, it's a great option. I also think that in the unlikely event that the Roosters do have a field day, they do come out and score 36, 40 points and really put it on the Titans. I don't see that scenario happening without Blake Ferguson scoring at least one try. Now, I think the Titans are going to be able to keep this game very close, so let's hope that happens. But I think we can get both here. I think the Roosters can win a 20-16 game or something like that, and Ferguson can score a try. The Titans can cover the handicap. But basically, these two bets, I don't see one of them happening. I don't see both of them losing. If the Titans are to lose by 9 or more, I think the Roosters are going to be able to score enough points for Ferguson to cross. And if the Titans are able to keep Ferguson from scoring, I think that they're going to be able to cover the handicap. It seems a little bit silly, but I think that that's the approach I'm taking. Anyway, I think that if the Titans are able to keep Blake Ferguson from scoring, it's going to mean that they're in with more of a chance to keep this game close, because I do think that Blake Ferguson is going to have a very good game tonight. So if Blake Ferguson does score a try, one or two tries tonight, it might bode badly for the Titans handicap bet, but I do certainly think that we can hit both of them. So I'll stop talking about that little that little approach there, because this is a little bit confusing, but I basically think we can hit both, and I don't think there's a scenario where we lose both, basically. So I've got 12 minutes left on air, so they're the two plays for tonight. Now, we have everybody in this French Open Roland Garros group. We've gone really well in the French Open, in the ATP Rome, 15 and 10. It's a really quality starting point to lead into a Grand Slam. And everyone's in that for free. We've got the PSP NFL group, which isn't free. If you would like to join that, send me $250. You're in it for the whole season. Don't ask me about my results. Ask some clients about their results. Ask Peter Wallace. And I don't mean the halfback from the Panthers. He's one of my clients. Ask Peter Wallace. Ask Daniel Dimon. Ask Ricky Myers. Ask Ricky Amato. Ask Sandy Saunders. Ask Daniel Lightowler. Ask Josh Mikulev. Ask Gianni. Ask anyone. There's 30 clients who will tell you that my NFL picks are sensational, and that's what you're paying money for. Send me $250. You are in that group until after the Super Bowl next season, and you will make more than $250 quickly. Believe me. Now let's quickly talk about the 50K challenge. Right now, we are up to level 6 with $182 in our pocket. We started with $50. We've hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bets in a row, and we're looking to get past level 6 to level 7. Now, we are currently at level 6. We're 20 levels away from having $60,000, something like that, right? Seems a bit silly, but I don't think it's the most. I don't think it's an unrealistic proposition the way we're going. I'm not forcing anything. I'm kind of looking for value every day and kind of looking for certainties every day. And if I don't find them, then I'm happy to move on. However, I will have a pick coming for the Warriors hosting the Thunder game tomorrow in the NBA. It's going to be an alternate total. We're going to play the over, and the over is going to be something like 206, 207, anything between $1.22 and $1.26 odds, something like that. But most bookmakers haven't released their alternate totals yet, so we're going to have to wait on that. But as soon as I see it on Sportsbet or William Hill or something like that, then I will be releasing it for a level play. The Thunder and the Warriors, to me, that's got points written all over it. Their last 20 mutual meetings, most of them, 17 or 16 or whatever of them, have produced 100 points from either team. And the way these two sides are playing attacking basketball, you've got Steph Curry, he's already back in form. He hasn't missed a beat. And you've got the Thunder, who are firing on all cylinders against the San Antonio Spurs. Steven Adams and all their role players are playing with great confidence, and obviously they've got Westbrook and Durant. It's going to be played at a high pace, and both teams, neither team's really going to have to shoot incredibly well for this one to go over our small alternate total and send us to level 7. So that's what we're going to do. We're just waiting for that total to come out. And we're gonna fire it away. So that's what we've got for tonight. We've had an up and down weekend in the NRL, but it's an improvement on last week. We're going to have hiccups. We had a bit of a rough night last week with the all sports betting on the page, but as I said, when we're dropping 0.5 stakes on each fixture, we can afford to do it. We lost 2.5 stakes last night on a couple of baseball picks, a soccer pick and a tennis pick. But if we can turn things around quickly tonight with a couple of NRL winners, will be fine. Let me just add one last quick note about MLB. So what's been happening is I have been betting on MLB every day. I've been reading about it. I've been trying to learn more about the sport. And every time I post a pick on the page, it loses. So last night I picked and choose a couple of plays. I looked at all of the games. I liked the Royals, I liked the Rays, I liked the Mariners, and I liked the Dodgers. Now, only one of those teams won. However, in the prior days, before that, I liked the Cubs handicap, which I posted on the page, which won. I liked the Diamondbacks, which lost. They lost to the San Francisco Giants again today. But basically what I'm saying is over the last 3, 4, 5 days, I've had a lot of success betting on Major League Baseball, but the only problem is every time I pick and choose one to put on the page, it loses, and that's no joke. Contact me if you want to see some of my bet slips. I've had a really good week with teams like the Red Sox and teams like the Rangers, picking them in situations. I've had a really good week on baseball. Even the Cardinals the other day, I got a win with them. I've had, a really good 7 days on baseball, but every time I post a pick on the page, it loses. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be posting pretty much everything I like on the page for half a stake. And that way, I'm not going to be able to have unlucky, selections. I'm just going to put everything up there, and I'll see how I go. So if you're thinking, hey, this Jake guy, he's posting baseball picks, and they're all losing, well, I've had a pretty unlucky run posting them. I know it doesn't mean much to you, but I'm not just blindly posting baseball picks. So I'm going to keep posting them up there. I'm going to be posting MLB. I'm going to be posting tennis in a couple of these smaller tournaments coming up this week. I'm going to be posting a bit of basketball. We're going to be posting the 50k challenge, but then next week is going to be back to behind the scenes NRL, where we're going to have a big week. We're due for one. So everything's happening right now, and the French Open tennis, which starts in 6 days, is going to be 100% locked, closed, private, for clients only. And I'm going to try and recruit some new members to come and get amongst that, because I do expect to have a good tournament. That's all I'm going to say today. Roosters versus the Titans. I like the Titans. Plus 8.5 handicap. And we have Blake Ferguson to score. Keep your eyes out for the next level of the 50k challenge that will be coming from an NBA game. Keep your eyes out for some tennis picks and some MLB picks. I will get you an MLB winner. Don't worry about it, okay? I've had a good run in the last couple of days, couple of weeks even. Just the ones I'm posting on the page don't seem to be winning, but we're going to be posting a bit more volume. EPL's over, A-League's over, so there's nothing more coming from there. We're going to have a bit coming from everywhere, maybe even a bit of NHL, whatever. Keep an eye out for the page, turn notifications on the page, and let's go 2-0 tonight in the NRL. That's our next fixture, and it's the most important match coming up. Let's sweep it, and we'll move on from there.